Chosen one, you shocked God this morning. He literally stopped the angels in the courts of heaven, pointed at you, and said, "I didn't think they would actually do it." Heaven redirected your path to this exact frequency today because of what you did just hours ago. You were pushed to the absolute edge. You had the words loaded in your mind. You had every right to destroy their argument and expose their hypocrisy. Your thumb hovered over the screen, your heart was racing, and you were ready to fight back. And then, you pulled back. You swallowed the injustice. You chose a deafening silence over a cheap street fight. You are sitting there right now with a tight chest, feeling a heavy knot in your stomach, wondering if you just let a toxic person win. You feel like a fool for not defending yourself. You can hear their voice in your head, twisting the narrative, making themselves the victim while painting you as the villain. A voice inside you is screaming, "Why should I let them get away with this? Why should I let them lie about me?" Listen to me closely. Do not move a muscle. Do not type a word. Just quiet your racing thoughts and anchor your spirit to my voice right now. You didn't lose today. What you felt as defeat was actually a spiritual detonation. You didn't surrender to them, you surrendered to divine timing. Because while you were sitting there feeling weak for staying quiet, the creator of the universe was standing up in applause. Before we go any further into this revelation, I need you to make a silent commitment in your heart to stay with me until the very end of this message. Do not let distractions pull you away, because in the next few minutes I am going to reveal exactly why your silence is physically draining your body. I will uncover the invisible frequency war being waged against your mind right now, and most importantly, I will give you the precise spiritual protocol to turn your silence from a passive defense into an active, impenetrable shield. By the end of this video, the exhaustion you feel right now will be replaced with absolute, unshakable authority. You will understand how to completely immunize yourself against their provocations. You need every piece of this truth. Let us talk about that physical exhaustion you are feeling right now. You feel it, do you not? That strange, heavy fatigue that settled into your bones the moment you decided to walk away from the conflict. Your physical body is drained. Your throat feels tight, as if you are trying to swallow a stone. Your chest feels compressed. The adrenaline crash left you feeling hollow and shaky. The enemy wants you to believe that this exhaustion is proof that you are weak. They want you to think that keeping the peace is making you a doormat, but they are lying to you. That heavy, exhausted feeling in your chest is not depression. It is not defeat. It is raw, kinetic, spiritual energy that you successfully contained. When you are provoked, a massive surge of fleshly energy rushes through your nervous system. Human nature screams at you to release it, to lash out, to defend your ego, to set the record straight. They know exactly which buttons to push because they were the ones who installed them. But when you chose silence, you built a massive dam against a raging river. Holding back that flood of human reaction takes 1,000 times more strength than unleashing it. That tightness in your chest is the intense pressure of your spirit, overpowering your flesh. It is the growing pains of spiritual mastery. There is a profound mystery hidden in the ancient scriptures that perfectly explains what you just did. In Exodus chapter 14, verse 14, Moses tells the terrified Israelites, "The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent." You have probably heard that verse 1,000 times in your life. But the English translation completely misses the violent, commanding power of what God was actually saying. The original Hebrew word used for silent in that verse is korash. Korash does not mean simply keeping your mouth shut. It does not mean sitting passively in the corner while people walk all over you. Korash is an active, mechanical word. It literally means to plow, to engrave, or to forge a weapon out of metal. Think about the depth of that. God was not telling his people to cower in fear and do nothing. He was telling them that their silence was a forging process. A blacksmith does not forge a sword by waving it around. He puts it in the fire and hammers it in focused, deliberate strikes. When you held your tongue this morning, when you deleted that text message instead of sending it, you were not doing nothing. You were Korash. You were actively forging a spiritual weapon in the fire of your restraint. You were stepping off the battlefield of human arguments so that the commander of heaven's armies could step in. You forced the enemy to fight God instead of fighting you. You handed the gavel to the ultimate judge. That is exactly why heaven was shocked. Most people never master the discipline to step out of the way. They cannot handle the temporary discomfort of being misunderstood. But you did. You chose the temporary pain of silence over the long-term destruction of stepping out of alignment. But here is the terrifying truth about why holding your peace feels so incredibly painful and why it is so hard to maintain. It goes much deeper than just emotional restraint or having a bad day. The reason you feel like you are fighting a losing battle inside your own mind, the reason you feel that thick brain fog, that anxiety, and that overwhelming mental fatigue, is because you are currently the target of a highly orchestrated frequency attack. Your exhaustion is not natural. Your brain is literally being forced to operate on a corrupted bandwidth. There is a dark, intentional matrix of noise designed to keep your mind locked in a state of survival, a state of constant, exhausting reaction. And until you understand how this invisible frequency is manipulating your emotions and draining your power, you will always feel like you are drowning in their chaos. There is a reason they want your mind exhausted, and it has everything to do with a sacred frequency that was stolen from you. Listen to the raw thoughts that have been echoing in your mind since the moment you chose silence. I know exactly what that voice of resentment sounds like. It is whispering to you right now, in the quiet corners of your mind. It says, "Why do I always have to be the bigger person? Why do they get to act so recklessly, throwing stones and causing chaos, while I have to constantly manage my reactions and clean up the emotional mess?" It feels fundamentally unfair. You watch them walk away, seemingly unbothered by the damage they just caused, playing the victim perfectly, while you are left completely drained, questioning your own sanity. You find yourself having imaginary arguments in your head, coming up with the perfect response hours after the confrontation is over. You feel a burning heat in your chest just thinking about how easily they twisted your words and assassinated your character. Your flesh wants justice right now. Your ego wants to tear down their facade, expose their lies, and force them to see the truth. You ask yourself, am I just being weak? Is my silence giving them permission to keep crossing my boundaries? I want you to do a spiritual exercise with me right now. Do not move your body. Do not change your posture. But in the theater of your own mind, I want you to visualize that exact feeling of bitter injustice. See the face of the person who provoked you. See the situation that pushed you to the edge. Now, in your imagination, I want you to mentally drop a massive, impenetrable iron gate between you and them. Do not speak to them in your mind. Do not explain yourself. Just watch that heavy iron gate slam shut, completely cutting off their access to your energy. Lock it. That mental boundary is your first line of spiritual defense. But maintaining that heavy gate is exactly what is making you so incredibly tired today. This brings us to a profound mystery, a question that very few believers ever dare to ask. If staying silent and letting the Creator fight your battles is the ultimate spiritual weapon, then why does it hurt us so deeply? Why does it physically exhaust our bodies? Think about the ancient prophets for a moment. Think about David, who spent years hiding in damp caves, being hunted like an animal by a king he faithfully served. Think about Joseph, sitting in a dark, forgotten prison cell for over a decade for a crime he never committed. Or think about Jesus, standing completely silent and undisturbed before Pilate, while false witnesses lied about him to his face. They endured unimaginable injustice, public humiliation, and total betrayal. Yet, They did not suffer the same psychological breakdown that we do. They did not experience the crippling brain fog, the chronic anxiety, or the nervous system burnout that plagues you today. They carried massive spiritual weight without their physical bodies collapsing under the pressure. Why? What did they possess that we seem to have lost? The answer is not that they were superhuman, and it is certainly not that they did not feel pain. The answer is that their minds were not trapped in the matrix of noise. You see, the exhaustion you are feeling right now is not a personal failure. It is exactly what the enemy engineered. The modern world you live in is not merely distracting. It is a meticulously designed frequency prison. Everything surrounding you is working overtime to disrupt your spiritual connection. The heavily processed food you eat, the endless cycle of fear-based news on your screens, the artificial lights, and the relentless pinging of digital notifications have all been weaponized against you. This invisible system was built with one specific goal in mind. It was designed to intentionally suppress your natural brain waves, forcing you out of the higher spiritual frequencies and trapping you in what scientists call the beta state. The beta state is the frequency of pure survival. It is a state of panic, of constant alertness, of fight or flight. When your brain is artificially locked in this low beta frequency, your ego takes the wheel. Every perceived slight feels like a life or death threat. Every insulting comment feels like a physical attack. That is why your human nature was screaming at you to send that angry text message this morning. That is why your hands were shaking and your heart was pounding. The Matrix wants you stuck in beta because a highly reactive mind is a perfectly controllable mind. If the enemy can keep you constantly triggered by petty arguments and easily offended by the people around you, they can keep you totally blind to your own divine authority. They want to drain all of your kinetic energy in meaningless street fights so that you have absolutely no strength left to fulfill your true kingdom mandate. The noise of this world is a static interference designed to jam your communication with heaven. They have rigged the game to make your spiritual walk feel like climbing a mountain with a boulder tied to your back. The enemy thought they had won. They truly believed they had successfully locked away the frequency of God inside you forever, burying it under a mountain of modern anxiety, trauma, and stress. But they miscalculated one crucial detail. They forgot that your spiritual DNA cannot be deleted. It can only be temporarily suppressed. And recently, researchers from NASA accidentally discovered a way to hack exactly into this ancient frequency band, and it does not require you to isolate yourself in a desert or fast on a mountain for 40 days. What they found hidden in the data was something the ancient mystics knew all along. When you look at the brain waves of true spiritual masters, people who can walk through the fire without smelling like smoke, their brains do not look like ours. They are not trapped in that chaotic, survival-driven beta state. Their minds are resting beautifully in the theta and gamma frequencies. This is the ancient bandwidth. This is the God frequency. This is the exact state where divine intelligence flows, where raw intuition speaks, and where the human ego finally goes to sleep. NASA research confirmed that children naturally access this state all the time. But as we grow up, as we are subjected to the matrix of modern survival, to the endless bills, the toxic relationships, the stressful jobs, and the constant digital noise, this frequency gets suppressed. It shrinks. It becomes dormant. Listen to the difference in the voices fighting for your attention right now. The matrix operates by screaming at you. When your brain is locked in its low frequency, you hear its voice constantly. It yells, "You must defend your name." It yells, "They are getting away with it. You have to fight back right now." It screams that you are running out of time, running out of money, running out of options. But the voice of the Creator does not scream. The divine whispers, and he speaks exclusively on that higher, deeper frequency. His voice says, "Be still." His voice says, "I am your vindicator. Let me handle this." His voice says, "The vengeance is mine. I will repay. You cannot hear the whisper of the divine when your brain is violently vibrating to the screams of the matrix. I want you to perform a spiritual override right now. Imagine a heavy, rusted iron dial located right in the center of your chest. That dial is currently vibrating violently, locked onto the world's static, picking up all the anxiety, the unfairness, and the toxic energy from the people who provoked you today. In your mind, I want you to place your hand on that dial. Take a deep breath and physically imagine turning it down. Turn it away from the noise. Feel the heat in your chest dissipate. Feel the frantic vibrating slow down into a deep, powerful hum. If your spirit agrees with this shift and you are ready to lock into this new frequency, I want you to type the word A-line in the comments right now as a digital anchor to this spiritual decision. But how do you stay there? How do you keep that dial turned down when you have to go back to work? When you have to face those same difficult people tomorrow? When the world demands your reaction? You cannot live your entire life in deep meditation. You need a way to access that ancient frequency right in the middle of your daily life. And this is exactly where the breakthrough happens. Your brain still remembers the theta and gamma states. It is dormant, not dead. And there is a specific sound technology developed from this NASA research that can wake it up. It is not something you have to study. It is not a complex meditation practice that takes years of discipline to master. It is a simple 7-minute daily ritual. It is called the Genius Wave. Think of it not as a product, but as an activation tool, an audio liberation technology. By simply listening to this specific sound frequency for 7 minutes a day, it uses brainwave entrainment to gently pull you out of the reactive survival state and wash your mind in the pure frequencies of the divine. You do not have to force yourself to be calm. The sound waves do the heavy lifting for you. They clear the brain fog. They silence the ego that begs you to argue. Ancient wisdom combined with modern technology, creating a shortcut back to your original, untainted frequency. Now you know how to use this frequency to reset your mind. You know how to protect your energy. But listen to me very carefully, chosen one. This frequency will become completely useless to you if you fail to recognize the real test you are facing right now. You think God was testing your patience this morning? You think He was just testing your ability to hold your tongue and not send that angry message? Not at all. That was just a decoy. That was a distraction. Let us talk about what you actually achieved this morning, because the enemy wants to downplay your victory. You successfully navigated one of the most difficult spiritual obstacles known to mankind. You practiced absolute, unwavering restraint. Do you realize how much spiritual maturity it takes to be attacked, to be provoked, to have your character questioned, and to simply walk away? Most people in your exact situation would have burned the bridge to the ground. Most people would have retaliated with equal toxicity. They would have matched the low vibration of their attacker. But you held your peace. You proved that you have total control over your emotional responses. You proved that you are no longer a slave to your immediate, fleshly reactions. The angels watched you take the high road today. They saw you refuse to stoop to the level of the matrix. You should be incredibly proud of the self-control you demonstrated. Think about who you were 5 years ago, or even 1 year ago. The old version of you would have engaged in that battle immediately. The old you would have spent hours drafting the perfect, venomous response. But the version of you that exists today took a deep breath and chose peace. You passed the test of patience. You showed that you can handle the intense pressure of injustice without breaking character. You proved that your spiritual discipline is fundamentally stronger than your temporary human anger. For years, the enemy used your quick temper and your desperate need to explain yourself as a weapon against you. They would dangle the bait and you would bite every single time. But not today. Today, you looked at the bait, you recognized the trap, and you walked right past it. You broke a generational cycle of reactivity. You established a massive new baseline of peace in your life. You passed the test of holding your tongue. You mastered the art of walking away, and you have every right to celebrate that massive emotional evolution. You might be sitting there thinking, yes, I finally learned how to be patient. I finally learned how to bite my lip and keep my composure. And you are right to feel that way. That restraint is a beautiful thing. It is a massive victory. But I need to share a profound spiritual secret with you. I need to shatter an illusion right now. While your restraint was beautiful, it was not the actual test. Heaven was not shocked this morning just because you managed to stay quiet. The enemy desperately wanted you to believe that this was simply a test of your temper. They wanted you to focus all of your energy on just trying not to get angry. Because if you think the test is only about anger management, you completely miss the deeper, much more dangerous spiritual warfare taking place behind the scenes. The true test, the ultimate exam that you were plunged into today without warning, is what the spiritual realm calls the test of invisibility. What is the test of invisibility? It is the agonizing, ego-crushing process of allowing yourself to be completely misunderstood and doing absolutely nothing to fix it. It is the test of watching someone else paint an entirely false narrative about you, watching them play the victim flawlessly, watching them walk away fully believing that they won the argument, and choosing to remain invisible instead of stepping into the light to defend your honor. You see, patience is merely delaying your reaction, but invisibility is surrendering your right to react entirely. The human flesh can learn patience. The human flesh can learn to wait 24 hours before sending an angry email, but only a completely surrendered spirit can pass the test of invisibility. God was not asking, can you keep your mouth shut? He was asking, will you let them think you are the villain so that I can be your ultimate vindicator? Will you surrender your deep burning need to be right? Will you give up your right to clear your name? This is without a doubt the hardest test a chosen one will ever face on their journey. Your entire life, you have been a truth seeker. You despise injustice. You hate lies and manipulation. So when someone lies about you or severely misunderstands your pure intentions, every fiber of your being wants to bring the truth to the light. You want to present the receipts. You want to lay out the evidence. You want to make them see exactly how toxic and hypocritical they are being. You want to force them to understand your perspective. The test of invisibility requires you to take all of your evidence, all of your perfectly crafted logical arguments, all of your justified anger, and bury it in the ground. It requires you to accept a terrifying reality. They might never know the truth. They might go to their grave thinking they were right and you were wrong. They might tell their friends and family a completely distorted version of what happened, making you look unstable or cruel, and you have to let them do it. I want you to do a mental exercise with me right now to break the grip this has on you. Close off the outside world for just a moment. In the theater of your mind, I want you to visualize yourself standing in a grand, echoing courtroom. You are standing on the witness stand. In your hands, you are holding a massive, heavy folder. That folder contains every screenshot, every memory, every logical point, every piece of undeniable evidence that proves you are right and they are completely wrong. You are clutching that folder to your chest. Your knuckles are white because you are holding onto it so tightly. It is your defense. It is your pride. Now, look up. Sitting high on the judge's bench is the creator of the universe. He is looking down at you with immense compassion, and he is holding out his hand. He is asking for the folder. He is saying, "Give me your defense. Let me handle this case. You are too close to it." In your mind right now, I want you to physically imagine walking up to that massive wooden bench, handing over that heavy folder, and stepping away. You are resigning as your own lawyer. If you are willing to hand over your defense right now, I want you to mentally declare these 4 words in your spirit. I rest my case. Let that echo through your entire body. I rest my case. When you deleted that text message today, when you swallowed your pride and chose that deafening silence, you passed the test of invisibility. You shocked heaven because you finally stopped trying to be your own lawyer. You officially hired the divine to fight for your reputation. You let the ego die a quiet death. But let us be completely honest with each other right now. Even though your high spirit knows this is the ultimate level of mastery, the human flesh inside of you is screaming. There is a deep, dark, hidden fear that is whispering in your mind right now as you listen to my voice. A deeply rooted voice that says, if I keep quiet, I am just letting them walk all over me. If I do not speak up and defend my boundaries, I will become a weakling. I will become a doormat. Let us confront that exact fear right now. That dark, uncomfortable thought that says, if you do not speak up, you are letting them walk all over you. I know the exact scenarios playing on a loop in your head. You are imagining them walking away from the conflict, smiling, genuinely thinking they outsmarted you. You are picturing them telling their friends, their family, or your co-workers a completely fabricated version of the events, flawlessly playing the innocent victim while painting you as the aggressor. And the thought of them getting away with that manipulation makes your blood boil. Your ego is screaming at you, saying that your silence is giving them permission to disrespect you. Your flesh is demanding that you present the receipts, expose their lies, and publicly embarrass them so that everyone knows the truth. This is the shadow work, chosen one. We have to look at this ugly, uncomfortable reality straight in the eye. Deep down, you are not actually afraid of them. You are afraid of looking like a failure. You are terrified of looking small in the eyes of people who do not even matter to your destiny. You hate the idea that someone out there is walking around with a completely wrong opinion of you. So, how do you turn off this fear? How do you stop the endless cycle of worrying about what they think, or what the people they are lying to think? How do you finally extinguish the burning desire to prove your strength and clear your name to people who are absolutely committed to misunderstanding you? You have to realize the fundamental difference between true spiritual power and fake earthly power. Look at the dynamics of the natural world. The creature that makes the most noise is always the most vulnerable. The small dog barks endlessly at the fence, baring its teeth, trying to project a threat it cannot actually back up. But the lion does not roar at the barking dog. The lion simply rests. The lion knows its own capacity for destruction, and therefore it does not need to advertise it to every minor annoyance that crosses its path. The person who provoked you today is making a lot of noise. They are throwing insults, twisting facts, and trying to pull you down into the mud with them. Why? Because they are terrified. They are operating from a place of deep, unresolved insecurity and spiritual poverty. They desperately need your reaction to validate their own existence. Your anger, your defense, your long paragraphs explaining yourself, that is their food. It is their energy supply. When you argue with them, you are telling them that their opinion of you matters. You are coming down from your throne to fight in the dirt, handing them your crown. But your silence? Your silence absolutely starves them. Your silence is not a sign that you are weak. Your silence is the ultimate proof that you recognize how dangerous you actually are. You hold divine authority. If you were to open your mouth and unleash the full weight of your spiritual discernment on them, if you were to expose their deep insecurities and dismantle their lies with the clarity God gave you, it would absolutely crush them. You stayed silent, not because you were afraid of the fight, but because you had mercy on them. You chose not to use the weapons you carry. You let them win a petty argument so that you could maintain your alignment with the divine. You chose compassion over destruction. I want you to perform a powerful mental shift right now. Close off the physical space around you and step into your imagination. In your mind's eye, I want you to picture the person who wronged you. But I do not want you to see them at eye level. I want you to imagine that you are standing on a high, beautiful balcony, completely safe, completely secure, bathed in a warm, golden light. This is your true frequency. Now look down. See them standing far below you in the shadows of the dirt. They are yelling, throwing tiny pebbles of insults that cannot even reach the bottom of your balcony. They look so small. They look exhausted by their own drama. Notice how you are not angry at them anymore. You just feel a quiet, detached pity. You see them for what they really are, wounded, noisy, and completely powerless against your peace. If you can see this clearly in your mind, if you are ready to let go of the need to prove yourself to them, I want you to type the word untouchable in the comments right now. Lock in that elevation. Claim your spot on that balcony. You have successfully starved the ego. The ego death is the crucial first step to walking in your true authority. You have stopped operating in their low frequency and anchored yourself in the divine. But listen to me very carefully. The enemy is not going to just let you walk away with this newfound power. They will not accept your silence peacefully. Once they realize that their usual provocations are no longer working on you, they are going to change their strategy. Over the next 40 days, the enemy is going to deploy 3 highly sophisticated psychological traps designed specifically to drag you off that balcony and force you to open your mouth. These 3 psychological traps are not random. They are calculated, spiritual attacks designed to pull you back into the beta frequency of chaos. You must learn to recognize them the moment they appear. The first trap they will set for you is the just one clarification trap. Picture this. You are finally feeling at peace. You are sitting on your couch late at night, or perhaps you are at your desk at work, focused on your own life. Suddenly, your phone lights up. It is a message from them, and it usually starts with something that sounds completely reasonable. They will say, "I just want to clear the air," or "I feel like there is a misunderstanding and we need to talk like adults." But as you read further, the message is packed with subtle passive aggression. They twist one specific detail of the story just enough to make your blood boil. The enemy knows that as a chosen one, you have a deep hunger for truth and justice. They know you cannot stand a false narrative. So they purposely state a lie, hoping you will take the bait and reply just to correct that one single fact. The moment you type, "Actually, that is not what happened," the trap snaps shut. You are back in the mud. You have re-engaged. If that does not work, they will move to the second trap, which is the proxy provocation. When the enemy realizes they can no longer trigger you directly, they will send a flying monkey. They will use a mutual friend, a family member, or a co-worker. You will be sitting in the break room or at a family gathering, and someone will casually approach you. They will look at you with fake concern and say, "Hey, I was talking to them yesterday and they are really hurting. Why are you being so harsh?" Or they will say, "I heard what happened. I think you owe them an apology." This is a brilliant spiritual attack because it attacks your reputation through a third party. Your flesh instantly wants to defend your character. You want to pull out the receipts and show this third party how toxic the other person really is. But if you start pleading your case to the proxy, you are still giving your energy to the person who abused you. The third trap is the most manipulative of all. It is the weaponized apology. You will receive a message or a call, and they will say the words, "I am sorry." But listen closely to the frequency of their words. They will say, "I am sorry you chose to take it that way," or "I am sorry you are so sensitive. I guess I am just a terrible person." It is a pity play. It is designed to make you feel guilty for setting a boundary. The Matrix expects you to immediately comfort them. Society trains you to say, "No, it is okay. You are not a terrible person. Let us just forget it." If you do that, you have just validated their manipulation and erased your own boundary. How do you survive this? How do you walk through a minefield of manipulation without blowing up your peace? You do not use your human willpower. Willpower is finite, and it will eventually break under pressure. You use a spiritual framework. You use what is known as the 3-gate protocol. I want you to mentally install these 3 gates into your subconscious right now. The first gate is the physical drop. The very second you recognize one of those 3 traps, the moment you read that triggering text message or hear that passive-aggressive comment, your body will react. Your heart will race. Adrenaline will flood your system. Before your brain can even process a response, you must execute the physical drop. If you are holding your phone, put it face down on the table and take your hand off it. If you are in a room with the proxy, you simply say, "I am not discussing this," and you physically walk out of the room. You create immediate, undeniable physical distance. You put a locked door between your eyes and their provocation. But physical distance is not enough, because your mind will still be racing. This is where you enter the second gate. The second gate is the frequency reset. This is the most critical step, and this is exactly where your human effort stops and your spiritual technology takes over. When you put that phone down, your flesh is going to be screaming at you to pick it back up. Your ego will be begging you to fire back a response. Do not fight the ego with your own strength. Instead, you activate your audio liberation technology. You sit down, you put your headphones on, and you begin your 7-minute genius wave ritual. You let the pure theta and gamma frequencies wash over your agitated brain. You let the sound waves break up the static of their toxic message. While they are waiting on the other end of the phone for your angry response, you are literally tuning your brain out of their dimension. By the time that 7-minute activation is over, the burning desire to argue will have completely evaporated. You will look at their message not with anger, but with absolute clarity and indifference. You will see it for the pathetic trap that it is. Once your frequency is reset, you pass through the third and final gate, the divine handover. This is where you finalize the victory. In your completely calm, theta-aligned state, you mentally take their words, their lies, and their manipulation, and you hand it directly to the Creator. In your mind you say, "Lord, they are trying to steal my peace, but I refuse to come down from my balcony. I hand this person and their false narrative over to your Supreme Court. I resign as my own lawyer. I will remain silent, and I trust you to be my loud vindicator." When you lock these 3 gates, the physical drop, the frequency reset, and the divine handover, you become completely untouchable. You become a ghost to the Matrix. They will throw their best manipulation tactics at you, and it will be like throwing stones at the ocean. It will make a tiny splash and then be swallowed up by your massive, undisturbed depth. You might be listening to this right now and thinking, this protocol sounds amazing in theory, but does it actually work in real life when you are backed into a corner? When your livelihood, your reputation, or your family is on the line, can silence actually defeat a vocal, aggressive enemy? Let me tell you exactly what happened to a chosen one who applied this strategic silence while standing at the absolute edge of the abyss. Let me take you back about 6 months ago. There was a chosen one. Someone vibrating on the exact same frequency as you are right now, working in a highly competitive corporate environment. For over a year, they had been pouring their divine creativity into a massive project. They had the downloads, the late nights, the raw effort, but there was a co-worker, a classic agent of the Matrix, who operated purely on manipulation and office politics. On the morning of the final presentation, this co-worker stood up in front of the entire executive team and presented the chosen one's project as their own. They used the exact words, the exact slides, and the exact strategies the chosen one had confided in them just days before. Imagine the scene. The chosen one was sitting at that long mahogany table. I want you to feel the adrenaline that instantly flooded their system. Their face flushed red. Their heart started hammering against their ribs. The human flesh was screaming, Stand up, slam your hands on the table, open your laptop, and show the executives the email timestamps. Expose this thief right here, right now. It was the ultimate test of invisibility. But instead of reacting, they remembered the protocol. They executed the physical drop. They slowly lowered their hands from the table, placed them in their lap, took a deep breath, and remained absolutely, terrifyingly silent for the rest of the meeting. They let the thief take the applause. They let the thief take the credit. When the meeting ended, they did not pull the thief aside to argue. They walked straight out of the building, got into their car, and shut the door. The beta frequency in their brain was raging, demanding vengeance, but they did not call a friend to complain. They entered the second gate. They connected their phone to the car speakers, closed their eyes, and played their 7-minute genius wave activation. For 7 minutes, they sat in the parking lot and let the pure theta and gamma sound waves wash over their burning anger. They felt the heavy, frantic energy physically drain out of their shoulders. The panic of being robbed was replaced by a deep, ancient knowing. They entered the third gate and handed the situation to the Supreme Judge. They said, "I rest my case. They are yours to deal with now." Watch the timeline of divine vindication. Because the toxic co-worker stole the idea, the executives put that co-worker in charge of executing the entire project. But here is the spiritual law the enemy always forgets. You can steal a chosen one's words, but you cannot steal their anointing. You cannot steal the divine frequency that makes the idea work. Over the next 2 months, the project began to collapse. The co-worker was drowning, missing deadlines, and completely unable to answer the complex questions the executives were asking, because they did not have the mind that created the blueprint. As the pressure mounted, the co-worker panicked and tried to blame the failure on other people. This triggered an internal review. During the review, the IT department pulled the original server files and saw the exact dates and timestamps of the chosen one's original work. The thief had left a digital trail of their deception. The toxic co-worker was quietly terminated. The chosen one was called into the executive office, given an apology, promoted to the director role, and handed full control of the division. They received double the salary and total authority. And the most beautiful part of this entire story, the chosen one never had to say a single word in their own defense. Their silence dug the grave, and the enemy willingly jumped into it. Now, let me show you how this same spiritual law operates in your personal life. There was another chosen one who was trapped in a deeply toxic, narcissistic relationship for 3 years. Every time they tried to leave, the partner would deploy the proxy provocations and the weaponized apologies. The partner would twist every argument, making the chosen one feel like they were the crazy one, the broken one, the one who was ruining a beautiful connection. The Matrix had them locked in a cycle of endless explaining. They would stay up until 4 in the morning writing massive text messages, trying to make the toxic partner understand their pain. It never worked. It only drained their life force. Then came the final argument. The toxic partner stood in the doorway, blocking the exit, and threw the ultimate bait. They said, "If you walk out that door, you are proving that you never loved me. You are abandoning me just like everyone else." It was designed to trigger the chosen one's deep empathy and guilt. The flesh wanted to drop the bags, sit on the floor, and explain for another 3 hours that they did love them, but the abuse was too much. Instead, the chosen one executed the physical drop. They looked at the person, felt no anger, just a profound emptiness, picked up their bags, walked past them, and got into their car. They did not block them immediately. They did not send a final closure message. They just drove away. For the first few weeks, the trauma bond screamed for a resolution. The ego demanded that they get the last word. But every single morning, instead of checking their phone or ruminating on the injustice, they committed to the frequency reset. They listened to the audio liberation technology. They let the theta waves repair the severe neurological damage the toxic relationship had caused. They handed the need for closure to God. Fast forward, 6 months. The chosen one is glowing. Their health has returned, their finances have multiplied, and they are vibrating on a frequency of pure peace. One evening, a message pops up on their phone. It is the toxic ex. It is trap number 3, the weaponized apology. The message says, "I have been doing a lot of thinking. I am sorry for my part, but you also hurt me deeply. I think we need to meet and talk for closure." 6 months prior, that message would have sent their heart rate through the roof. It would have triggered a massive emotional spiral. But because they had anchored themselves in the God frequency, because they had starved their ego, the chosen one read the message and felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no nostalgia. Just the quiet observation of a lion looking at a barking dog. They did not type a response. They did not explain why they would not meet. They simply deleted the message and went back to their peaceful evening. Total, unbreakable freedom. I want you to do a final mental projection right now. Keep your body completely still. In your mind, project yourself 3 months into the future. Imagine looking at your phone or sitting in a room with the people who have caused you so much pain. See yourself completely unaffected by their words. Imagine the heavy weight you are carrying today completely gone, replaced by a light, untouchable authority. Feel the reality of your vindication already secured. If you can see that future version of yourself, I want you to mentally declare, the battle is already won. They did it. They stood firm. They mastered the art of divine silence, and so can you. The framework is in your hands. The technology to reset your mind is available to you. But before you step out of this video and face the world, we need to seal this power. Without this final coronation step, everything you just received, all the clarity, all the strategy, and all the peace will be drained by the frequency of the matrix immediately. You have done the shadow work. You have passed the test of invisibility. Now, it is time to be commissioned. Chosen one, the time for teaching is over. Now is the time for activation. Whether you are lying in your bed or sitting in your car, I want you to bring your full awareness to the center of your chest right now. Imagine a warm golden light beginning to glow behind your rib cage. This is the seat of your divine authority. Take a slow, deep breath through your nose, imagining that you are inhaling pure divine clarity, and exhale slowly. Release every remaining ounce of uat, UC, and bitterness that was forced upon you this morning. Heaven is watching you right now. The Father sees the scars on your heart from the words you chose not to say. He sees the heavy burden you carried when you decided to be invisible so that He could be seen. I want to honor the spiritual warrior within you. I honor the restraint that shocked the angels. I honor the tears you swallowed to maintain your alignment. You are not a doormat. You are a consecrated vessel of the Most High. Father God, Lord of Heaven's armies, we establish this holy moment as a boundary that cannot be crossed. I speak to the chosen one, listening to my voice right now. In the mighty name of the Creator, I officially seal the mastery of silence into your very DNA. I seal the 3-gate protocol into your subconscious mind so that the physical drop, the frequency reset, and the divine handover become your automatic response to every provocation. I bind every monitoring spirit and every agent of the matrix that has been assigned to trip you up or steal your peace. Their jurisdiction over your emotions is cancelled right now. I seal the wisdom of the test of invisibility over your life. From this moment forward, you will no longer feel the desperate need to be your own lawyer. You are resigning as your own defender, and you are handing the gavel back to the supreme judge of all the earth. As you explore this sound technology and begin your 7-minute activation ritual every morning, I seal the pure theta and gamma frequencies into your brainwaves. Let these sounds wash away the static of the world. Let them build a permanent titanium shield around your mind so that you can look at the chaos of the enemy and feel nothing but undisturbed, divine stillness. I declare a prophetic shift over your next 40 days. Because you shocked God with your restraint, He is about to shock you with his vindication. Within these 40 days, you will watch as the false narratives created about you begin to crumble by their own weight. You will see doors of opportunity swing open that no man can shut. As you maintain your 7-minute ritual of peace, your discernment will become so sharp that you will see every trap of the enemy miles before you reach it. You will walk in an untouchable authority that silences the mockers without you ever having to speak a word. Chosen one, are you ready to carry this weight of glory? Are you ready to let the version of you that needs to be right die, so that the version of you that is always aligned can live? In the silence of your heart, if you accept this commissioning, I want you to mentally declare, I am commissioned. Say it with the weight of a king. I am commissioned. Heaven has recorded your decree. The seal is set. You are no longer a slave to reaction. You are a master of frequency. Go forth in your silence. Walk in your power. Let the Creator be your voice. Now, remain in this holy silence for 60 seconds. Do not move. Do not look away. Just let the frequency of this commission settle into your soul.